Would you like to be more effective when you're speaking? Hello, my name is Greg Story. I'm the president of Dale Carnegie Training here in Japan. We have public speaking and presenting, and then we have just normal, everyday, work-style conversations. But we need to be effective in all of those arenas, and they're a little bit different. When we're just having conversations with colleagues, then we're trying to influence how things are moving along a project or in the company. And this is where we need to start working on, are we effective in getting our point across and getting people to follow what we're suggesting or to listen to what we think? Are we able to have impact with other people? Do people regard what we say as being important? This is what we mean when we talk about effective speaking. If people are constantly cutting you off, if they're just running right over the top of you, they're ignoring what you say, they're not regarding what you say as being relevant, then maybe the way you're saying it is not very effective, and maybe we need to look at that. Now, part of it comes down to what's the relationship you have with these different types of people. There are human relation principles that work with different types of people very, very well. And they have different objectives. It could be you'd want to have a better relationship with someone. If you don't have a very good relationship, well, maybe it's hard to have them listen to what you say with any credibility. If you don't have a very good relationship, maybe they just disregard anything you say. So maybe we've got to build that relationship first so that they're open, at least, to what you want to say. Then we have ideas that we think are important, suggestions that we think are important, which would like other people to take up and follow. So we need to become persuasive. And again, there are certain human relations principles we can use that help us become more persuasive and get people coming along with us on the journey of what we think is important. Or it might be that we need to become a leader. Now, if you're going to become a leader of a project or you're going to become a leader of a team, then, again, that's a human relations and communications exercise. How people regard you, how they feel about you, will they willingly follow you? This is very, very critical, especially if you're leading without authority. You're just the project head, but you don't have any particular authority over anyone. You've got to get that willing cooperation. That comes down to your human relations skills and the relationship you have with that person, even if it's not very good. By using these human relations principles, you can actually repair that and you can make it work for you. Now, we have multiple relationships. We have the boss, we have our peers, we have our subordinates, we have clients, we have suppliers, we have friends, we have family, we have a whole range of different people who are critical in our life. So let's think about all of those critical people where we want to have effective communication skills with and start analysing one by one, well, what's our relationship with this person? What are some human relations principles that will be very effective with these different groups and these different individuals that we're actually targeting? Right? And so once we do that, we get a bit of clarity about, okay, I need to build this sort of relationship with this person to have influence and have them listen to what I say, and so my effectiveness of what I'm saying goes right up. So these are things we need to look at. Now, it depends also what we're trying to achieve when we're speaking. It might be we just want to portray information, provide data, provide insight into something that we've seen before, or the updating what's happening with a particular project. That's one type of communication. It might be we want them to take action. We want them to actually do something, want to adopt something that we think is important. We might be wanting to persuade them that something is very important, persuade them that this is the priority, persuade them to take up this particular project over another. It might be entertainment. We might have to become the mood maker for our team. We might need the person who gets everyone sort of excited and gets the motivation going, gets everyone engaged. So it's a different type of communication. And there are many, many ways of doing that. One very, very good thing when we're talking about persuasion, action, that type of thing is a thing we call the magic formula. It's very, very good. Most of the time we're trying to persuade people, it's very hard because they immediately go to the negative when we suggest something. We say, how about this? And their brain is going, well, why won't that work? That's not going to work. Here's all the problems with that. That'll never happen, da-da-da-da. So immediately they're in a negative territory because all we said is, here's what we think. we get the negative reaction, and then we bring out the context. Well, too late. Too late. Let's get the context up first. Let's get the background, let's get the context up first, and then let's suggest what we think should happen and pair that immediately with the benefit of doing that. So the recency idea of people remember what they heard last. So context, background first, suggestion, then the benefit. So the last thing they hear is this the benefit. So it's very easy to disagree with my opinion. It's not very easy to disagree with my context, because context is reality. This is the background. Now, once you hear that context, once you hear that background, what you'll often find is people are thinking, well, as a result of that, we should do this. And that is usually what we're suggesting. So before we even get to the point of telling them what we're suggesting for the action piece, mentally, they've already gotten there ahead of us. So yeah, they're in total agreement. And then we put the icing on the cake with the benefits of that. So these are the sorts of things which really work. We're trying to be effective in speaking with other people. And wouldn't it be great if you could learn how to do that? Well, you can. There's a great course called Effective Speaking. And these are the sorts of things we teach. Now, you can listen to what I've just said and say, yeah, I've got all that, I understand. Yeah, well, understanding and doing it, not quite the same thing. This is where we need the coaching. This is where we need the practice. Theoretically, intellectually, you can understand it because it's not complex. But doing it, changing your habits, getting the words to come out the right way, working on explaining those principles and using those principles to other people, that takes practice, that takes training, and that's why we have this course. So, effective speaking, this is going to be great, and you will find all your relationships really improve after doing this course.